Biological warfare is a dark and twisted part of human history. Pathogens or toxins are used to kill or disable an enemy force, with the goal of causing as much damage as possible. In 1346, during a siege of the city of Kaffa, Mongol forces threw plague-infected bodies over the city's walls. This could have caused the bubonic plague to spread throughout Europe. There have been a lot of other times when biological weapons have been used in war. During World War II, Japan did tests on civilians and prisoners of war with biological agents. In the 1950s and 1960s, the United States also conducted controversial tests on its own people. Despite the fact that biological weapons are illegal under international treaties, there are still concerns that some nations may continue to produce them covertly. This shows how important it is for governments all over the world to work together to stop such terrible things from happening again. During World War II, the Japanese army was known for using weapons that could kill people. In 1940, they sent a strain of bubonic plague to the Chinese city of Lanzhou. This was one of their best-known attacks. Over 10,000 people died because of the bacteria, and it took years for the city to fully recover. During the Cold War, a CIA project called Project MK Ultra looked into different ways to control people's minds using drugs and other psychological techniques. They tested these techniques on people who wanted to take part and on people who didn't, like prisoners and people with mental illnesses. By today's standards, these experiments were controversial and unethical, but they taught us a lot about how people act. During the Gulf War in 1991, Iraq was thought to have used anthrax spores as the main agent in biological weapons used against coalition forces. Luckily, only a small number of soldiers got sick, and no deaths were reported as a result. Even though these events may seem horrible now, they have left an indelible mark on history and can teach us how to deal with biological warfare threats in national defense strategies. People are no longer the only ones who use biological warfare by giving them diseases that kill them. It's now possible to make a virus that affects people based on their genes or even their race. Also, scientists have tried to make insect vectors carry and spread viruses by changing them. This could lead to the making of new weapons that kill a lot of people. Modern biological warfare technology like CRISPR-Cas9 lets DNA sequences be changed in a very precise way. This technology can be used to make deadly and highly contagious viruses that can't be treated with antibiotics or other common medicines. Bioweapons are another thing that can be made with nanotechnology. Nanoparticles can be made to stick to specific cells in the body and then release toxins or other harmful chemicals. Even with all of these new technologies, biological warfare still has a strange side. There have been rumors that scientists are using genetic engineering to make super soldiers or monsters that are a mix of humans and animals to use in war. Some people might think that these claims are just science fiction, but it is clear that modern biowarfare research keeps pushing the boundaries of what was once thought to be impossible or unethical. Biological warfare is a type of war in which biological agents or toxins are used to make people, animals, or plants sick or kill them. Biological warfare could have a huge effect because it can not only destroy a lot of things but also hurt the environment and people's health for a long time. International law has made it illegal to use these weapons, but people still worry that they could be used in conflicts today. One way to see how biological warfare could affect people is to look at what happened in the United States after the anthrax attacks that happened soon after 9/11. 5 people died and many more got sick because of these attacks, which caused widespread panic and fear among the public. Also, cleaning up the affected areas took months and cost millions of dollars, which shows how hard it can be to handle a biological attack. Also, on the strange side of biology are genetically modified organisms, GMOs, which have been looked at for both good and bad uses. GMOs could be used as weapons if they were made to carry deadly diseases or toxins that would only hurt certain groups and not others. The fact that these organisms can't be predicted makes them very dangerous and shows how important it is to understand how they could affect our world. Biological warfare has always been a controversial subject because it has the potential to cause a lot of damage and death. Because of this, Ethical rules have been put in place to control how biological weapons are made and used. The Biological Weapons Convention, BWC, was set up in 1972 to stop biological agents from being made and stored for military use. Even with all of these precautions, biological weapons have still been used either on purpose or by accident. One well-known example is the anthrax attacks in the United States in 2001, when letters with anthrax spores were sent through the mail, killing 5 people and making many others sick. When dealing with biological warfare, these kinds of things show how important it is to stay alert and follow ethical rules. Also, it's important to note that advances in biotechnology have made it easier for both non-state actors and organizations funded by states to create dangerous pathogens. This shows how important it is for countries to work together and for research facilities that deal with potentially dangerous organisms to follow strict rules. In the end, when we talk about biological warfare, we need to keep ethical concerns at the forefront if we don't want terrible things to happen. One of the most dangerous ways to fight is with biological weapons. It is the use of living things like bacteria, viruses, and toxins to make people, animals, or plants sick or kill them. Even though there are laws and treaties that say it's against the law to use biological weapons, some countries have done so in the past. This is dangerous not only for the people who are being shot at, but also for innocent people who might get caught in the crossfire. There are many risks that come with biological warfare, and the effects can be far-reaching. When these weapons are used, they can cause a lot of sickness and death, and it can take years for the affected people to get better. Biological agents are also hard to find and treat, which makes it hard for doctors and nurses to stop an outbreak quickly. Also, these agents could be accidentally let out or stolen, which adds another layer of risk. If these deadly pathogens are not handled properly, they could get into the wrong hands or infect people who work with them in labs or storage facilities. Because of this, dealing with the risks of biological warfare requires a multifaceted approach that includes international cooperation on disarmament efforts and strict safety protocols in research institutions around the world. Biological warfare is a type of war in which biological agents are used to hurt or kill people, animals, or plants. Since the Geneva Protocol of 1925, it has been against the law for people to use biological weapons. Even so, there are still worries that these weapons could be used in the present day. As a strange part of biological warfare, people come up with and try out strange and unusual ways to spread diseases. During World War II, for example, Japanese scientists did experiments on prisoners of war by giving them diseases that killed, like anthrax and bubonic plague. In these experiments, people tried to find ways for fleas or other vectors to spread these diseases. Some governments have also been accused of running secret programs called black bioweapons that use biological weapons against their own people. Even though it's hard to prove these claims with certainty because these programs are kept secret, they show how dangerous this kind of warfare could be. It is important for countries all over the world to stay alert and work together to stop biological weapons from being used again.